A left turn and a left downwind. Cessna over the threshold, coming up on the white dot, at or beyond the white dot, left turn first available. I got a high wind coming up on about a half-mile final, clear to land at or beyond. Traffic on the left base, you're following a Cessna down, low off your left. Square it up just a little bit, and then we're going to get you in. Start your descent, though. Start your descent on the base. Traffic on final, give me follow on base. Base traffic, start turning toward the numbers now. High wing coming up on quarter-mile final, take it all the way down to the green. Cessna taxiing on the green, expedite down to the next hard surface. Get me some speed, there you go, go fast. This is going to be good. I got traffic on a mile final, you're following traffic ahead and to your right. High wing coming up on the threshold, take it all the way down to the green dot.
5 Charlie Sierra, 2 mile final.
A mile final, turn north, and we're going to just make you, we're going to bring you back around. Jet traffic's coming up on about a mile and a half final, runway 9er clear to land.
Okay, all right, let's listen up, guys. If you're on final for runway 9, I want you to offset to the left. I got a jet that's landing on runway 9. The jet's cleared to land runway 9 if you can make it. If not, just continue straight ahead. It looks like you're going around for the jet. That's fine, that's fine, that's fine.
Oh, we had one right in front of us, sir.
Dragger, let's see, what we got, a tricycle, put it down, tricycle, put it down, tail dragger, down to the green dot, then a left turn. Short final here, you click land on 9, all the way to the white dot, go down to the white dot. Find somebody to follow out here. Canard, just come to the runway and I might have to just send you around. That'll be fine. And for the jet, you just want to stay in this pattern or you want to go back out for an instrument approach?
Stay in a pattern, Charlie Sierra.
All right, just stay with me here for a minute. And my tail dragger, let's see, over the numbers, go down to the green. And Canard's going to have to go around. Canard, go around. And my high wing here over the runway, keep it airborne. You do not descend. You got a fast guy behind you. Do not descend. There you go. Keep it airborne. As soon as the guy behind you gets slowed down, I'm going to put you down. So keep it airborne. The one that just passed the white dot, make a left turn on the hard surface. All right, my high wing tail dragger, you can put it down now. And Charlie Sierra, let me get you about a mile off. Let's see, Charlie Sierra, I lost. There you are. Make a left-hand turn. I'll try to resequence you here on the downwinds. We'll see how it looks. Short final, you're clear to land runway 9 on the white dot. There you go. And the tricycle left on the hard surface and follow the flagman. Welcome. Thanks for being part of the show. And let's see, just find somebody to follow on the final. And as you get close to the runway, if it's not going to work, we're going to send you around and then try to resequence you. Now, who else got sent around that's not back on the downwind? The Canard?
Yeah, Canard.
All right, Canard, there's a Gulfstream up there that went around too. I just lost sight of him, but you're going to make kind of a left-hand turn and stay low. I think Charlie Sierra, what's your altitude?
3,200.
Okay, that'll be fine. Just maintain VFR. I don't know what else is up there above you. Probably most everybody's down here, so just make a left-hand turn. We'll try to get you back here.
Canard's got the jet in sight.
Okay, the RV, maybe an RV-10, whatever, you're on final. Keep your speed up and go all the way down to the, aim for the green dot for me. Actually, keep your speed up. There's a guy behind you. Aim for the green dot, and I'm sure that's plenty of room for you to land on runway 9. You're clear to land on runway 9. Number 2, you're going to go down to the white dot. Follow the white dot. Actually, you know what? That's 1,500 feet. You're going to land at the white dot. The spacing looks adequate here. 2 guys on final. You're kind of tight there. Keep each other in sight, and you're going to aim for the white dot. If it's not going to work, we'll come up with a plan B. We might have to send you around. The second guy behind you out there in about a 2-mile final. Are you slow enough to be able to follow that guy in front of you? You need to go around. Well, I probably shouldn't ask that because I had about 5 guys answer me, so I should know better than that after 35 years, you would think, right? All right, so let me see. The guy who's number 1, it's number 1. What kind of airplane is he? An RV type. All right, RV type. Keep it airborne for me. And I got a fast guy behind you. The number 2 guy over the trees there. Go ahead and put it down on the numbers. My first guy just coming up on the numbers at the over the grass at the numbers. I want you to keep it.
T-minus 1 minute and counting.
Hello.
Four, three, two, one.
Hello.
Hello. that bit worked. For those of you watching, welcome, and you're more than welcome to tonight's live stream. About 1 minute ago, it was all looking a little bit, whoa, this is going to be interesting. But as it happened, it all came right at the end, which is a good thing. So before we go any further, I would like to thank very much 4Flight, our sponsors who support the live stream and make this possible. I received this yesterday, which is the 4Flight Sentry, now available in Europe. You can check it out yourself at flywithsentry.com/flyer. It's a dual band ADS-B receiver. It's got a carbon monoxide detector in it, alarm in it, and an AHRS as well, I believe. So I'll be looking forward to going flying with that, and I'll tell you what I think of that when I've been flying with that. What else have we got going on tonight? Well, we've got a whole bunch of news. It feels a bit like CA news only tonight, but it is not. There is other news, but there's tons and tons of CA news. What else have we got? Well, that's it. We're talking to Chris Kidd. In fact, I've already spoken to Chris Kidd. It's a pre-recorded interview. Chris is Astral Aviation Consulting. He took over from Gasco, or the contract was awarded to Astral. So we'll be talking to him, see what he's got in line for us all for our general aviation safety education over the next year. We got Fantasy Hangar, obviously, and in QSY we're looking at an aviation shooting, amongst other things. So let's get Simon on and see if that bit of technology is working. Oh,
it's a miracle! It works.
Hey.
How are you doing?
How are we? Yeah, very well, thank you. Are you all?
Yeah, good.
Very well.
Have you been flying, Simon?
I have.
Excellent.
I've been. I have to say, I was scuppered by the weather on a couple of days, but yeah, as expected, I did anticipate that. But yeah, been flying in the circuits. Got back to just about where I was pre-lockdown. So I think next week could be that big solo week. We'll wait and see. If only the weather will play ball.
Well, we'll find out.
You can make it happen.
Yeah, I've had a word. He doesn't tend to listen to me, though.
Do you know any good forecasters?
I'm been searching around for one. So if anybody's got any suggestions, put it in the comments and I'll get in touch.
Where's Bill Giles?
Yeah, absolutely.
Send us an email to positionsvacant@seeger.aero.
Oh dear. All right,
okay.
Listen, do you want to know what the weather's going to do this weekend?
I do, but
No.
because there was a minor hiccup, I'm going to have to give everyone a little peek behind the screen here. So I am going to play a little 6-second video, and at the end of that, if all goes to plan, you should be the only person left on screen in a kind of slick transition manner, and then you can deliver the weather. And because we probably won't see how be on screen together at the end, we'll say thank you and goodbye now before you even start.
Okay, thanks all. Have a great weekend and bye for now.
Just not to be rude. Here we go.
Wow, it's almost like it was planned to happen, isn't it? It's amazing. Right, okay, folks. So if you plan to go flying this weekend, it actually looks to be a good one. It's quite an unstable flow. So what does that mean? It means basically showers. But I think most of the time they're the kind of showers that you can see around, or they'll be big enough for you to think, I'm not going anywhere near that bad boy. So this is how things look then. I've got an extended forecast here taking us through Friday, Saturday and bank holiday Monday. So this is the forecast then for Friday, and high pressure off towards the west, low pressure off towards the east. It's causing a northeasterly flow, and these blobs of green you see here are basically the computer trying to do its best as picking out where most of the showers will be. So we're looking at Wales, southwest England. We're looking at parts of northern England, parts of eastern Scotland. You see that trough down the eastern coast of England, that suggests that there might be some heavier showers there. But generally, it's not a bad day, particularly Friday morning. Just got to watch out for one or two of these heavy showers cropping up Friday afternoon. Quite high bases to the cloud, though, about 3,500 to 4,000 feet. Tops getting up at about 10,000 feet. But in some of the bigger cunims that are going to be around, we saw those today in places, didn't we? Tops could be up at about 15 to 20,000 feet. Now, for Saturday, that kind of sets the tone, really, for Saturday as well, because it's a similar sort of day. It starts off fine, lots of sunshine, cloud bubbling up mid to late morning, and then during the afternoon, lots of cumulus cloud around. Some of those getting themselves far too excited and developing into showers. And it looks like it's going to be the Midlands, Wales and Southern England that sees most of those. A few over the Pennines, a few for Eastern Scotland. If I had to pick out something for Saturday different to Friday, probably less showers on Saturday than on Friday, but very similar basis to Friday as well. Light winds as well for Saturday, and on both Friday and Saturday, good visibility in between the showers. Now, Sunday, I suspect probably more in the way of cloud filling in on Sunday after a bright start. 1 or 2 showers again developing, but I think they're not going to be as heavy as on Friday and Saturday, or or as heavy as potentially Friday and Saturday showers could be. So for Sunday, a more scattered set of showers around, bases around 3,000 to 4,000 feet, tops probably no higher than about 8,000 to 10,000 feet overall, and the visibility on Sunday pretty good as well, with light winds once more. And then finally, bank holiday Monday, well, just forget it. Look at that, low pressure moving in from the west, a situation really we haven't seen for some time now, that low pressure coming in from the west. Strong winds, rain wrapped around it. Difficult to pin the details into that one just at the moment, but you can see there on the ceiling forecast as well, this is the cloud ceiling, so anything with broken cloud and above, that's the height of the base of the cloud, and where it's yellow basically means 1,000 feet or less. So you can see across much of northern and western England, it looks like holiday Monday not going to be particularly brilliant. So the message is spend your brownie points Friday, Saturday and Sunday. And if you want to get better at forecasting yourself, then get yourself along to Aviation Weather School. I've got 3 places left on my next course on the Saturday mornings of the 15th and 22nd of May. I'll show you how to plan 5 days in advance, build your confidence in forecasting yourself, and be able to trust the forecasts that you're seeing from official sources as well. Okay, I'll leave you with that for now. I'm going to get back to reading the books and getting prepared for next week's flying. Have a great flying weekend, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now, folks.
Sort of worked, apart from
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Oh.
And that
Hey,
hey.
it's like professionalism.
I think we're gonna need some, like professionalism, but not very much.
with a lowercase p.
We're gonna need some CRM, I think, on not some CRM, perhaps. But
Yes.
anyway, whatever it is, we'll get some. Thank you very much, Simon, if you're still there, and we look forward to seeing you again next week, and hopefully for you, next week is that week. So thank you. I can see Simon waving from the green room. Send us a rider.
That would be amazing if the next week is that week for him.
It would be amazing if next week's that week. So come on, Simon, just nail it. You've got it. You've got it. Right, time for some news, I think. Let me just move my little cursor of magic up here. Dave, hit us with the news.
Well, the top of the news is the fact that the Department for Transport, DFT, has issued what it calls its General Aviation Roadmap. This is how it plans to make Great Britain the best place in the world for aviation. It's actually quite a nice detailed plan, well presented. It's like a bunch of infographics, but rather than lots and lots of words. And it all makes quite good sense. They start off with the idea that GA has to be a bit of a money maker. It has to make money. If airports are going to survive, there need to be places of making money. And it makes the big point, and right at the beginning, GA is the entry point for careers in aviation, whether that's pilots, engineers, scientists, and various other highly skilled professions. So it then goes on to make some detail, and it's top of the list is the network of airfields is a national asset. In fact, yesterday, the Aviation Minister, Robert Courts MP, went further and said in a written statement to Parliament that there is a need to protect airfields. I mean, there's real emphasis on this in both the GA roadmap and in Robert Courts' statement. The other items in the roadmap include airspace reform, and there's the phrase has to work for all users. So, and it does use that all-important word, interoperable. Managed it, interoperable, i.e. the tech has to work across all systems. It didn't outright say ADS-B, but they're getting there slowly, bit by bit. Other points? They made a very good point that decarbonisation of aviation, which kind of has to happen in one way or another, either through electric or hybrid electric or burning cleaner fuels, it will need tests and trials, and all these tests and trials will happen at GA level. And we've got a bit more news on that to come later in the news. The last point I made was the need to develop aviation skills. And there's this big emphasis on what they call STEM, scientific, technical, engineering, and what's the M?
Math.
Anyway, so there's a big emphasis in developing aviation skills. So it all sounds quite good, really.
Yeah, I mean, so let's be positive. It is quite good, and let's see whether the DFT and the CA between them can, and general aviation population, see if we can deliver on this. And let's continue to invite Robert Courts and Grant Shapps to come on here for a chat. So far, they haven't managed to do that. That would be great if we could get them on. And let's see what we can do to make general aviation a decent place in the world for GA, should we say? Yeah, absolutely. And the M stands for Monunciation.
We'll get on to that a bit more later.
We will. Yeah. Ed, I believe you got a story of love and marriage.
Yes. So obviously, so last week you would have seen Sophie O'Sullivan, the new head of the CA/GA unit, on here talking in a pre-recorded interview with Ian. So yesterday, the CAA announced that the General Aviation Unit and the Remotely Piloted Aircraft Systems Unit are being formally integrated into one unit with Sophie as the boss. And she'll be permanent head of this combined unit. The GA unit and the RPAS team, they remain intact with the same resources and roles before, but they've got one common shared support team, and it will become the GA and RPAS unit. Did I hear you playing wedding bells?
You did. I think after a short engagement, they've got together and they've tied the knot. And thanks to COVID, they've only just had a little quick honeymoon, probably in a caravan down at Southend or something.
Well, they probably formed a support bubble.
Absolutely. Yeah. It kind of, depending on your point of view, it kind of makes sense. A lot of drones are going to be sharing Class G airspace with a lot of general aviation. And if we can all work and integrate together, then great. We just need to work towards that, and hopefully that's what happens.
We know that there's GA guys on the drone unit there. We know that the GA guys in the actual GA unit are really good. We've seen examples of that in the virtual voyage and things like that. So let's hope that this all comes together and makes some brilliant plan for integration.
You remember? I don't know if you remember, but years ago there was a book that was quite famous. It was some, or at least quite popular. It was about, I can't actually remember the title, unfortunately. Something like "Women Come from Mars and Men from Venus," or maybe the other way around.
Yes,
whatever it was.
Yes.
I kind of wonder whether we shouldn't get hold of some copies and pop that along to the sea, because I can imagine all of that management speak coming from the drone unit and engaging with their stakeholders, and the general aviation unit using a different set of management speak. They kind of just need to learn to communicate internally. So hopefully that will work for them.
Do you think the drone guys will walk over and go, "You can have our sand pit"? So we'll have there'll be like loads of GA stuff going on in the sandbox.
Well, I'm kind of hoping that they'd have little messenger drones that they could just fly over and drop tickets over.
No. We know what happens when you try and fly a zone in your office.
No one should ever try and fly a drone in the office. And if that video ever surfaces on the internet, I know you will be to blame.
Absolutely. Yes.
Will you be the chatty rat?
Yeah, who is the chatty rat? Right. What else has happened? Well, there was a CA Skywise email that came out. I think it was yesterday or day before yesterday, under the title of mid-air collisions and stuff like that. But also in there was the new CAP 1404. CAP 1404 sets out the procedure for the CA dealing with infringements, and it's like 18 pages, whereas the old one used to be 6 or something like that. Plus, there are some other documents that come with it. There's a Mythbuster document and a document that sets out the process and explains. So there's what can I say? There's some good stuff in the documents. There's a place to look at and consult on the Rule 11 thing, which we won't go into here. But if you're interested, there's lots of stuff on Rule 11. Basically, it's a mess and it needs changing. That's my opinion, but I'm sure everyone will agree with me. Maybe. But I hate. I know it's only 2 days old, and I hate to be negative, but I don't think it's nailed it yet. I don't think it's done enough to get us all working together, to get us all understanding of just culture, to get us feeling comfortable working, and at least being open with everything that's going on. So let's take it as a small positive step in lieu of the big positive step that we were hoping for, but hoping there's going to be further positive steps, and we'll do our best to keep them honest. We might even publish a letter or two or something.
So,
Okay.
In this new infringement process, is the CAA still the investigator, prosecutor, judge, jury, and appeals court? Oh no, there's no appeals, are there?
Well, there's a section. There's an appeal if you have a substantive action taken against your license. So if you end up having your license taken away from you, not temporarily suspended, but some permanent kind of substantive action, then you can ask for what's called a Rule 6 appeal, which is quite a big deal. But up until that point, there isn't. And I think if you read some of the detail, I think some of the detail was authored by someone who hadn't fully understood just culture and how organizations move forwards, unfortunately. But I think if anyone out there knows an industry leading just culture expert, we could do with a chat. We got some little plans to have a think about some just culture content, and that would be really educational, hopefully for us, for general aviation, and maybe even some people at the Civil Aviation Authority, or maybe they know it all already, but having read some of it, I suspect not. But anyway, so there you go.
Talking of CAA, I hear they may have responded to your letter, Ian.
They did. There you go. Look, it's there. As some of you will remember, or maybe some of you won't remember, in the last issue, in the current issue, in fact, I wrote a letter to the CA. It was a letter giving them some heartfelt advice to some good friends, and just sort of pointing out where I think they could do better. And they responded, and the letter arrived yesterday, and I think it's a very good letter. And that story will be going live on the Flyer website at 8:30 tonight. So www.flyer.co.uk news. It will be one of the news stories. You can go and see the whole contents of the CA letter, and I'll post a link on the forum to that when I've finished here. Good letter though, CA. Well done. And let's take this as a new start in our relationship, shall we?
Yes. Yeah. So before we go any further, I need to raise something that's being covered in the comments. So there's some serious questions being asked. Has Johnny been sacked? Johnny's on leave today, because sometimes you get to take time off. But the question of where Johnny is has prompted other people to start one. People are saying maybe he's missing in action. Someone's saying, I'd like to know whether it's £7.50 a month or a quarter. Maybe Johnny's been given a week off to revise the cost of the Flyer Club. But my absolute favourite was the fact that Johnny's dad came along and says, hi, everyone. Johnny's dad here. He's not here tonight. I want to remind everyone that Flyer Club members have this fantastic value at just £7.50 a month. Sorry, a quarter.
Very good, Johnny's dad. Thank you very much.
That's right. As you said, you see, it's not his fault. It's genetic. So we know you're missing, Johnny. And Mr. Salmon, thank you very much for filling in. So
absolutely. Where is John? No. Yeah, we did actually brief that we were going to talk about that at the beginning of the show and explain where he was, and then it just the kind of technical trauma that was
in true brief style.
The plan didn't survive the going live, I'm afraid. Yeah. Talking of which, there must be some more news down here somewhere.
Yes. Well, last week we mentioned about the new Airfield farm strip planned for a place called Little Mongham. Yeah, I've had a lesson in how to pronounce this place. It's not Mongham or Monham. It's Mongham. Think SpongeBob's. I was told. So so Mongham. So last week we announced that there was a movement to start a little farm strip there, and there was a campaign called Chocks Go Away. And on the Friday, the day after the live stream, the campaign kind of shot themselves in the foot by issuing a video showing showing a little video of Hitler and his Nazi cronies having a discussion about how they might establish an airfield at Little Monjam. I guess they thought it was a bit of a joke, but it kind of backfired on them, and the world has sort of piled in. And not surprisingly, they've taken it down and just kept quiet for a few days. What it has happened, a good point about it, is that it's inspired a whole bunch of pilots, quite a few names from the Flyer Forum and on here on the live stream, quite a lot of pilots to go onto the Chocks Go Away Facebook page and website and make some very erudite comments about the value of grass airfields and farm strips to wildlife, and the fact that they don't cause any problems. They actually help the wildlife because they're grass fields and they're kept like that. So it's actually had a bit of a good effect there, and it's made also the wider media, such as the BBC Kent, both radio and TV, and the local newspapers. I don't know how they got hold of the story at all, but and they've all sort of realised there is another side to the story. So at the moment, I would say it's even Stevens on this.
Yeah, so just popped up in the comments. Wayne Allen says, we kept being positive on their social media, then they deleted the pages.
Persistence and positivity is definitely a good.
But it was. I thought there was genuinely some good commentary going on there, and people going, well, actually, having an airfield in your area is a great thing, and it's not, it's not airliners flying in, and it's not the high impact that you think, and some of the movement numbers, actually, when you break it down, it's relatively small fry stuff, and it brings money and economic traffic into the area. So.
Yeah.
I have one question about your pronunciation, Dave. Is there any chance that there was a side bet going on again? I bet you we can make Dave say something completely wrong and teach him this. or are you fairly confident that it's correct?
I'm only going by what Nick Orchard told me, which is it's munge as in sponge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. If Nick Orchard told you, I think it's probably correct in that case.
Yeah. You have to remember that there was a time when I think it might have been someone on the live stream made a slight to Kent, in the times when we were, upsetting the Ukrainians and everything else. So we need to get things right now.
Yeah. Okay. In that case, we got it right. Talking of getting things right, Ed, you've got a story about a long plan.
Yes, I do have a story about the long plan. So the General Aviation Awareness Council, GAAC, believes the current protection of GA aerodromes is clearly inadequate. And they've come up with an enormous plan to help save threatened UK airfields. Now, we joke because it was quite a long document, but in there was actually some really good stuff. And they're suggesting a fourth category of land should be added to the 3 proposed in the government's planning white paper, published last August. That paper talked about 3 zones: growth, areas suitable for development; renewal, areas suitable for development; and protected, which is restricted development. GAAC believes there should be a 4th, which is called infrastructure. And they say without an infrastructure category, airfields would be deemed protected, render them unable to evolve and become commercially viable, and leaving them even more vulnerable to housing. So good work there, but maybe next time, slight, less words.
Yeah, they need one of those TLDRs or whatever they're called at the beginning. Too long, don't read.
Yes.
Just an executive summary. There you go.
Well, there is the summary, the edited version on the website.
Yes. Read Dave's news story.
It makes a hell of a lot of sense, doesn't it? I mean, one thing general aviation needs to thrive is new pilots and somewhere for new pilots to fly and land and learn. So that would be a very, very good thing. Ed, are you going to tell us about the M600 briefly?
Yes, I can't sneak in posting a link in the comments, so I'll say that for a bit. Piper's M600, which has auto land, and that's FAA certified. Obviously, the Garmin technology. So the M600 SLS Halo is now EASA certified as well, which means that you can have an auto land equipped aircraft. Up until now, I think we've only had the TBM 940 here. I'm not sure. I can't remember if the Cirrus Vision Jet has got EASA certification yet. Ian, can you remember?
I can't.
No, I did some digging. I'm not sure it has, but if it isn't, it's probably on its way. But anyway, M600 SLS Halo is EASA certified now. And so Piper's delivered 67 Autoland equipped aircraft. It's been a real positive thing for them, and it's really boosted sales of that M600.
Yeah.
And the first European delivery is due in the next 2 months. The Piper plan a sales tour this summer. I did wonder whether an Autoland equipped aircraft, where they can just push a button and it just does the tour itself.
I was going to wonder whether the 67 aircraft sold didn't deliver themselves. It's kind of. I wonder. I mean, I wonder what happened. I wonder what the conversation was like at EASA, because clearly, it brings some fantastic capabilities, but you do want to send some kind of notice out to ATC so they know exactly what's happening when they hear if it happens again, and if someone actually activates it. It would be interesting. It's much more difficult to do over in Europe, clearly, where there is not. The US has one big joined up system, and we can't even manage the south of the UK with a joined up system, let alone Europe. So.
Yeah, but no, impressive stuff.
Yeah, no, absolutely. In other industry news, another bit of good news, Skydemon was awarded today its second Queen's Award for Enterprise. So well done, Skydemon. Great news there. I think that was international business they got that for. So top work there.
They increased their exports by 58% over 3 years, which sounds good going, doesn't it?
That is impressive stuff.
Yeah.
That's bloody good going.
Yeah.
So I see this must be connected with the talk this week in the news about auto-driving cars. Wayne Allen says, is the M600 SLS Halo limited to 37 miles an hour? Hopefully not.
No, I don't think that Piper, much as it's got a beautiful wing on the M600, I think
could go that slow.
It ain't doing much at 37 miles an hour.
Yeah.
No.
Right. Dave, over to you.
Yes. The next one is, well, just imagine this. Imagine one day you're in Hawaii, flying an aeroplane around and enjoying the sunshine, the soft breezes, the beach. When you finish work, you go down for an aperitif at a beach cafe. It sounds lovely, doesn't it? And then a week later, you're told you're off to the Orkneys in Scotland, and you might just balk a little bit at that, or just protest for a second. This is Ampere, the hybrid electric company developing a hybrid electric aeroplane. This is their test bed aircraft, a Cessna 337, equipped with their hybrid electric unit, and they've been doing tests in Hawaii, and they're now off to they're coming to the UK to do some tests in the Orkneys. Well, they'll be showing it off to Loganair and the local Highlands and Islands airports company. They've chosen the Orkneys because because of its wind and also the wave power, it's been touted as a place to develop hydrogen. In other words, you use the renewable energies to produce the hydrogen, and therefore you can use the hydrogen on something like a regional airliner. So there is some synergy there. And once they've finished in the Orkneys, the Ampere team are coming down to the southwest, to Exeter, in fact, where they're going to be running some similar demonstration flights between Exeter and Cornwall, presumably Newquay, although they haven't actually confirmed that yet. The idea is all about developing a regional airliner with a limited number of seats, traveling a limited number of miles, which suits a hybrid electric aeroplane. And it's all about this decarbonisation of aviation that the GE roadmap talks about.
Wow. There you go. Should be fun. Talking of electric stuff, Ed?
Yes. Now, so by Aerospace, who've been talking about building various electric training aircraft, they announced an 8-seat all-electric twin turboprop class aircraft this week. The E-Flyer 800 is powered by dual Safran power units. Bai says the design is in response to growing demands for regional all-electric mini airliners. And I think he's gone, well, the King Air's popular, so let's make it. I have to say, it's pretty. It's an attractive looking machine. So performance estimates for the E-Flyer 800 include a 320 knot cruise speed, okay, 35,000 foot ceiling, and 500 nautical miles range with 45-minute IFR reserves. Normal cruise of 280 knots. So, what does everyone think? Is it another? He's coming out with lots of ideas. Is George By? Is this another? Will this meet production, or will it be forever a concept?
It's really difficult, isn't it? I mean, I don't think anything we've seen at the moment is. There is no current really viable commercial transport aircraft that's made it that's electric at the moment. I don't think. But even the sort of GA training electric aircraft are kind of marginal edge case kind of stuff. But there's steps we have to go through in order to get to the final destination. You can't just suddenly get. The Wright brothers didn't go, "Hey, look, we got this Concorde. What do you reckon? Supersonic to London." they had to start somewhere, didn't they?
Yeah. Yeah, it's certainly no lack of dynamism, is it, from George By and By Aerospace?
No, that does look like a very sleek airplane with a tail that's a little bit too small and not enough room to stuff it full of batteries to do 500 nautical miles. But
yeah, someone in the comments said, "Can you stand up in the cabin?" But also, someone said it's far more attractive than a Cessna 337.
That's true.
But
yes,
not hard.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, I think the battery thing is, people have been, the guys who are really serious about this are putting batteries further down the line because they realise that the battery technology's got a hell of a way to catch up. They're looking more at the hydrogen fuel cell because you can put the hydrogen in tanks, a bit like fuel tanks, and then use it as you're flying. It weighs a lot less than batteries. So I think the By Aerospace project has to go down that route somehow. It's a good looking airplane, though.
Yeah. And Tony Bishop's made a good point in the comments, and he says the By aircraft seems to be dependent on the 2025 battery developments by Oxford's Oxis. And you may recall Oxis Technologies have a battery that's going in the Texas aircraft Colt, which is an American LSA. And they've got this much higher tech, I think it's higher power density battery that they're working on. And I know By is interested in that. So good point, Tony.
Yeah. I mean, I think I have said this before, so forgive me for repeating myself, but the amount of money that is currently being spent on battery development and battery research worldwide for all sorts of things, from mobile phones to computers to cars to airplanes to ships to lorry, everything must outnumber the amount of money that's being spent on general aviation piston engine research by a billion or something.
It's probably been more than has been spent in the entire history of GA, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're lucky in that we're on the receiving end of potentially those developments, like everyone else.
Yeah, so that's a good thing. Let's be positive, and maybe next year we'll be starting the Flyer E live stream or something.
That's it.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Good. Right. Yes. One thing. I think we've done the news, haven't we?
That is the news.
Yes.
That is the news. Thank you very much. The news is over. Sleek transition. So one thing that's sure for electronic airplanes is that whatever happens, there'll still be general aviation safety to worry about. And we heard earlier this year that Chris Kidd from Astral Aviation Consulting had won the contract from the Civil Aviation Authority, 3-year contract for general aviation safety education and safety awareness. I sat down, had a chat with Chris earlier. I'm going to play you the video in a minute. This is an edited video because the real one was kind of a little bit longer. So that will be released next week if you want to see the full version. But some of the stuff I had to cut out was really just around Chris's background. He learned to fly in a Vigilant glider at 13, did a gliding scholarship, moved to Cyprus, joined the Akrotiri Flight Club, did 20-odd hours there, got another scholarship, came back, went to Tayside, did another 20 hours, finished off his PPL there, went to university, where in the University Air Squadron he flew the Bulldog, then went to the RAF, flew Tucano, Hawk, and Tornado GR4 obviously as a pilot, and did some instructing stuff as well. In 2017, Chris then went to work for the Civil Aviation Authority, where he looked after air display regulation for a while, and then he became head of general aviation regulation, which probably needs, no, it would be churlish to press the boo button at this point, wouldn't it? I'm not going to do that. And then he left Civil Aviation Authority in 2019. So here's a little 10-minute interview with Chris Kidd from Astral. Good morning, I'm talking to Chris Kidd from Astral Aviation Consulting. Astral won the contract for GA safety promotion this year and took over from Gasco. I thought it'd be a good opportunity to talk to Chris and see what plans he's got. Chris, good morning.
Morning, Ian. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. You?
Yeah, surviving lockdown.
In terms of, I mean, clearly safety is a huge area and covers an awful lot of stuff. Are there any particular areas that you plan to focus on in this, your first year?
Yeah, so the aims of our campaign are to reduce preventable accidents through education and to promote a just culture where regular reporting and knowledge sharing is the norm. Okay, so what we're going to do, how we're going to do that? So what we're going to do is we're going to deliver a new safety theme every 3 months, so quarterly, with supporting resources available on the website, astralaviationconsulting.com. You can also join the mailing list. We'll provide regular updates and signposting new content. The 3 themes we're looking at initially are going to be the things that have caused the most GA accidents or incidents, in recent years. So it's all very much data driven. The first theme is going to be loss of safe separation, and that launched last Tuesday. The next one is going to be loss of control, and the next one after that is going to be unintended IMC leading or not leading to CFIT. So they're the 3 main things that are causing the most GA accidents at the moment. Our fourth thing is the underlying issue that we all face on a day-to-day basis, which is human factors. So you're going to give you loss of safe separation, loss of control, unintended IMC, and then human factors on a quarterly basis. What you're going to see then, throughout though, we're going to knit that together with something which we've called underpinning enduring principles. And these principles are prepare, plan, and perform. Now, of course, the theory behind this is not new. Okay, if we could, you will have seen the various versions of prepare, plan, perform before, I'm sure. But if we can, our theory being, if we can encourage GA pilots to think about their preparation, the things that they can do before they leave the house, have they had enough rest? Are they best prepared for their flight? Have they eaten enough? Are they in the right frame of mind to even step foot into the aircraft? Then that's going to better prepare them for the flight, right? Of course, once they've left the house and they've got to the airfield and they need to do some planning, for whatever flight they're going to go and do, if you can plan appropriately, consider the what ifs, consider the contingencies, then that's going to set you up to perform better in the air. So therefore your airborne performance should be, as a direct consequence of your preparation and your planning. And of course, we'd all love to go and do perfect airborne performances, but I can't remember a single flight that I've done, certainly, that went absolutely perfectly. So actually, and the performance has got 2 aspects to it. You've got your actual airborne performance at the time, and also we'd like to encourage people to do some self-reflection. So what went well, what went badly? And if things didn't go quite as well as they might have done, should I tell somebody about that? Should I just mention the fact that that thing that I went to go and do didn't run on rails, and let's just stick a voluntary report in? Because that weight of reporting might drive some more safety focus. And ultimately, as I mentioned before, it might save someone's life. So that's the theory and how we're going to go and do that.
This will be presented via the internet, or?
So what we're going to do over the course of the next 12 months, we're going to be using harnessing the power of the internet ultimately. COVID has changed the world considerably. I think we can all agree on that. And also it means that lots more people are doing what we're doing now. For example, they're communicating via Zoom or via various other means because they haven't been able to see their families for a considerable amount of time. We also find people doing much more internet banking, and just general use of the internet in general has gone up significantly. So we're going to harness the power of the internet to be able to do this, right? And also various social media channels, because we think that there's potentially an underrepresented sector of people that might be, let's say, the 20s up to 40s. I'm 44, so certainly younger than me, that aren't necessarily members of large organizations like the LAA, the HAA, etc. So we want to get them to join the conversation. We want to give them this safety information, give them this safety education so that they can digest that in an easily digestible format in their own time. But actually we manage to reach as many people as we possibly can, because of course, the GA community in the UK spans the length and breadth of the country. You know, you've got people that are learning to fly at 16, 17 years old, and you've got people that are still flying, you know, at 85 years old. So we need to be able to target that broad spectrum of people. Now, of course, your experience is completely different from mine, which is different again from someone else who's learning to fly. So we can't produce bespoke content that will target that particular individual. So what we're aiming to do is provide something for everybody. Okay, so it's going to be easily digestible online. It's going to be able to be used by inexperienced pilots, people that are learning to fly, and also hopefully it will pique the interest of those more experienced pilots out there. It might not be necessarily the way they would actually do that, but it might provide a little bit of a refresher about things that we've all forgotten. Because I think we can agree that, you know, when we learned to drive a car, we were all over it, and now all of a sudden, you know, half the time you can't remember how you got from A to B. I know, and sometimes a quick refresher on that can be handy. You know, maybe even if only to stimulate some debate about, you know, there might be 10 different ways of doing that thing. You know, what's the best way of doing it? We mentioned already, I think, about communication. And I think communication in this space is absolutely key, right? So one of the things we're going to be doing every 3 months is a Zoom panel event based on whatever that topic of the quarter happens to be. So loss of safe separation or loss of control, etc. And we're going to be inviting, you know, as many people as we possibly can to that. And the panel, we're going to try and get some of the great and the good from the GA community involved. And in fact, the first one's on the 16th of June. And we've managed to secure a chief flying instructor from an Oxford-based flying school. One of the UK's youngest female GA pilots is involved as well, which is great. And the head of the UK Airprox board. So that hopefully should be a very interesting discussion along the loss of safe separation thing, which, you know, your readers, your viewers, you know, anybody can dial into and start asking questions and get involved in. So that should be fantastic. So please do keep an eye on the website and our social channels for more on that. Instead of expecting you to come to us and click around on our website, we're going to start pushing content more through the socials as well, which allows the, you know, it's a lot easier, I think, if it's dropping into my social media feed to have a quick click on a 3-minute video than it might be for me to then have to go and find the website and then, you know, I've got to make time for that, etc., etc. Because we all know that time is pretty precious, right? People are busy. So also what we're going to do via the website as well is we're going to have some long content and we're going to have some short content. And the reason for that is we're going to have like a 25-minute narrated presentation or a webinar, which our loss of safe separation one went live on the 20th. So please go and have a look at that. We're then going to drop some short content later on, so a 2 to 3 minute video, which will pick on the key points. So if you've got time on a Sunday afternoon and you want to sit down with a cup of tea and just, you know, have a browse through that long content 25-minute presentation, then that's fantastic. But if you're busy and you're heading off to the airfield and you think, actually, I could do with a quick brush up, I can just watch the 3-minute short content video. We're also providing all the links and supporting resources for the theme via the website as well. So if you have even more time or if you're interested, then you can get stuck into that as well. And if only, you know, I would love it actually, you know, if people are looking at the long content or looking at the short content and actually give me feedback. Is this working for you? What do you want to see? Come and tell me. So sign up through the website, get on the mailing list, tell us what we can do better. Likewise, come along to the panel event. Tell me, you know, that short content wasn't very good or you didn't hit the mark or et cetera, et cetera. But like I say, we're trying to cater for a broad spectrum.
Did you say your first panel was on
16th of June? Yeah. 11:30, 16th of June. Keep an eye on the website and the socials for more details.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Chris. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. I look forward to digesting some of your safety information over the year and learning as much as I possibly can.
Sure. Thanks so much.
Wow.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, as well. So, thoughts?
Well, he seems genuine and sincere about his plans.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I was looking at the comments, and there's obviously a little bit of skepticism, a little bit of cynicism there, and I'm certainly not going to criticise anyone for being sceptical or cynical. Occasionally been like that myself. I spent longer talking to Chris than I had time for to put into that video. He clearly is passionate about safety, but then, I mean, who isn't? I think, you know, we just have to, it's a different approach, and we've just got to give it a go, see what happens, and then give some feedback, see if there's anything we don't like, be honest about it, and if there's stuff we do like, be honest about it, and see what happens. So proof of the pudding is in the crashing, as it were, when it comes to safety. So I guess that's what we'll have to do. So yeah,
there's a few people in the comments saying that obviously one of the nice things about Gasco was getting out there and the physical interaction. So while there was a lot of talk about digital stuff, it'd be nice to think that Astral might do a little bit of getting out there too.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm not privy to Astral's plan, so I mean, it's difficult at the moment to plan that kind of thing. Either, I mean, we've been looking at sort of when we can get flyer club events together, when we can go out and actually bump elbows or with people or whatever it is you have to do these days. And it's just so difficult to predict. You know, everyone's got their fingers crossed and looking at what's going on. So yeah, let's see. And I'm sure Gasco will go out there and carry on doing some bits and pieces if they can. Gasco is still with us after all.
Yeah.
So let's see.
Let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens. Time marches on, as it were, and I do believe
must be time for. And one of the nice things about the week of Fly Alive is that we have this brilliant fancy hangar jingle now. So
there you go. So
I love it. Yes.
People.
Yes. So fancy hangar. So this week we decided, in light of the news story about Buy Aerospace's new concept, the E-Flyer 800, we'd take a look at concepts from the past that we'd give a spot to in our fancy hangar. So Ian, I think you're first, and yours is quite surprising.
It is, and there you go. You can. This is the only picture I could find of it in flight. It's the TT-62, a pressurized piston business jet competitor driven by two 4-liter, 310 horsepower Tila, as they were at the time, V8s stuck in the back, which drive two 5-bladed props that sit out on booms sticking out of the back. Kind of quite a funky design, I think you'll agree. It was a guy called Heiko Tegan. Heiko Tegan used to publish the German magazine Pilot und Flugzeug, and he was a bit of a kind of Viking of a man. And I had a few meetings with him actually when I must be 25 years ago. We were talking about perhaps creating a European magazine, and there was myself, the French magazine, and Heiko talking about it. And he was a very how can I put this? He was very Type A kind of character. We should all take our magazines, close them all, and I'll launch a new one for all of us. And go, no, not quite. That wasn't going to happen. Sadly, in August 2003, he died when he was riding his motorbike and got hit by a wasp or something. I don't know the actual details, but it did involve anyway, he is no longer involved in the project, clearly. The project was taken over. They made one flight, I believe, during which they discovered that A, it pulled to one side, and B, it didn't go anywhere near as fast as they hoped, and they were looking for 230, 240 knots. And it turns out that there was a whole load of interference between the props and the fuselages and the booms and all sorts of other things. And I can't help but thinking that trying to cool 620 horsepower worth of diesel engines stuck in the back of an airplane was going to be hard. And not to mention the fact that you'd probably need a few buckets of uranium in the nose just to sort out the weight and balance as well. But it didn't really, it would have been funky. And They kind of, before they went bust, they were trying to sell it. They were taking options, or they were offering options. I don't think they actually took any 450,000 euros for a 230, 240 knot aircraft. And clearly it didn't work because they went bust in 2006. But for me, I think the biggest reason I want it in my fantasy hangar is because it reminds me that, interesting chap though he was, Heiko, aviation publishers shouldn't really get into designing aircraft. It's just not it's not a good thing, and it leads to bad places. So there you go. It's my reminder not to become an aircraft designer, which Francis Donaldson and others will be very happy about, no doubt.
Yes.
But there you go.
That's completely bonkers. I can only imagine what it would have been like cabin noise-wise with propellers like 2 inches outside.
It must have weighed several tons as well.
Yeah.
Well, I think that was just the engines, wasn't it?
Yeah.
There's some good suggestions in the comments. I'm going to come back to those. Dave, I think you're next, aren't you?
Yes, I've gone to a completely different way on this. I should point out, first of all, that I wasn't here for the in the discussion for this category, and Ed has turned down several of my earlier suggestions, saying they weren't eligible because of rules he's just invented. And but anyway, when I really put my head to it, thinking about what will get past Ed's criteria, there was one obvious category, one obvious aircraft, and of course, I'm talking about the Ego SSDR. I mean, this first flew in 2013. It had a short life, really. They produced one prototype seen here, and one production one, which went to the then MD. It's a beautiful looking aircraft. It's absolutely stunning. We had a fantastic article in Flyer about how it was built, and it's an absolute gem of an aircraft. I guess the real problem is producing at a price that people will pay for what's basically a single seat SSDR with very few frills to fit inside the weight limit. But it's a beautiful airplane, and it absolutely deserves to be flying.
It may well see the light of day again, because I think Giotto Castelli has bought the rights, didn't he? So who knows?
He bought the rights, and he's been working with a Slovenian company who are specialists in making aircraft components, and so he's still trying to get it made, but he's just got to get that price point down. And I think, as you once suggested, Ed, perhaps you have a very, very basic version, and then you have a +1 version with a few more frills.
Yes, that was always their challenge. They were fighting was cost. But I like you, I think it was a brilliant idea, and I think it's a shame that we didn't see more of them.
Yeah,
I think there were two things that, well, maybe one thing that stands out about the aircraft. So I remember watching Keith Dennison display it at an LAA rally, and it was an absolutely spectacular display. And I do believe on one of my hard disks somewhere, I've got a copy of the in-cockpit footage of that display. Yep. So I must get around to putting that lot together for a video. And at one point, there was a kind of, before it all went wrong, there was discussion about, bless you, about me going up and flying it, which I'm kind of,
Up until that point, SSDRs hadn't been aerobatic, and actually there was nothing in the there's nothing in the rules that said they couldn't be. And Keith gave this amazing demonstration at Aero Expo one year, and people were just mesmerised.
Yeah,
Keith
Keith
made it really easy.
See, Tony Bishop is in the comments. Tony was actively involved in the Ego right at the beginning.
That's
one
true.
Of the co-founders of the company.
Hello, Tony. Got far too complicated. Costs over £50,000 to build. Yeah, unfortunately. So,
Tony, we were trying to remember at the end what the sale price was.
Originally, what was the intention?
What was? Yeah, because we couldn't quite agree on it. But anyway.
Yeah.
And someone says, Chris Holiday says, what does the Ego do that the Spacek SD1 Mini Sport doesn't? That's true, actually. And that's a really cute little machine.
Well, I mean, what do any SSDRs do apart from fly in very benign conditions?
Yeah, low winds and stuff like that. But
I mean, no one's going to get an SSDR to fly around the world on a regular basis.
Yeah, Tony said originally targeted around £30,000. So, and that's as a exciting sport toy for a lot of people, and it was. I know there was a hope that it would bring some new pilots in. With kind of you going, here's a brand new exciting machine for not much money. So
thank you, Tony.
Yes, Hey. So that just leaves me.
It does.
So I picked, and I this is always, it's one of these things that lives in the back of my mind since I learned about it. So back in 1993, Cessna got involved with the Joint Primary Aircraft Training System proposal it's basically to make a new tandem training aeroplane for the US Air Force. And they went, well, we're really good at jets, and we've got loads of experience with the Citation jet. So what we'll do is we'll use all the Citation jet technology, and we'll make a two-seat jet. So they came up with this, the Cessna 526. And now I think this is quite a pretty little thing, and pretty funky. And so the prototype flew in December 1993. It was certified in just 6 months, and was a record time, and I think it might still stand today. The test regime included an astonishing 850 spins in just 500 total flight hours. They didn't win the JPATS bid, and people were surprised because it was the all-American entry. But there was a lot of talk about the fact that the CJ1 had been selling really well, and it's like, oh, actually, let's make this as a toy we can sell to people. They're going to buy their 526 trainer jet to go with their Citation CJ1, and there were people putting down deposits with just in case it was going to be offered for sale, and it never happened. But it was at a time when there was a lot of L39s, L29s coming into the States. And you think about that, you go, okay, it makes a bit of sense, because all of those would have been experimental category. This was a proper certified jet. And you can take your toy jet to the Cessna service network across the States. So I think it would have been brilliant if they'd made it happen. And I think clearly someone at Cessna was using all their mental enthusiasm with that. So
is there any consensus in the comments as to who's won?
No, there's been lots of really good. I need to go through this because there has been some really good suggestions. So, first, Keir Williams said, I'm not sure doing justice to Handel's Messiah by referring to Hallelujah as a jingle. Point here. Cool. Our viewers are educated, aren't they? Julian Treadwell. I think I'd mentioned this to Ian and Dave, the AJI Hustler Gulfstream Peregrine. If you haven't Googled this, you should go and Google this, because this was awesome. This was completely, what are they smoking? But they turned this into a physical thing and flew it, and it looks stunning. That's very cool. Darren Lewington, clearly been smoking something, Darren. Ducted Fan Islander. What? Andrew Kennedy says, can I pick the Mark 1 Cirrus pusher prop aircraft? You might be thinking of the Cirrus VK30, which was a kit plane. That's quite a good choice, Andrew. Darren Lewington, again, this is a good choice. Chichester Miles Leopard. I'd forgotten all about that. That is fantastic.
Yeah.
David White, as always, DH88 Comet. That they made that, David, and they made a bunch of them, so it wasn't a concept. What else have we got?
Now you know what we have to deal with.
Dan Air 28 says Pemberton Billing or Tarrant Tabor. I don't know either of those, and I'm going to have to Google those now, Dan. What else? Chris, the Lockspeyer LDA1. That's more ugly than a short Skyvan, but an interesting concept. Dan Air 28, Caproni CA60. That was enormous, but that's probably why you're saying keep it as a houseboat. So all sorts of good suggestions. No consensus on any winner, but I think actually Dave, I do like your suggestion, and actually, Roger Breckle. Ivan Shaw's latest creation, that is beautiful, and I hope that we see more of that.
Let's hope that doesn't fall into the category that we're choosing tonight.
Yeah, no. I'm confident that that's not going to. So, Wayne Allen, you've been drinking the Kool-Aid, Optica.
FLS Sprint.
Clear a cloud. Here we go. Does the Tecnam Snap count? Yes, David, that really does. That was a brilliant idea, and I think a real shame that they never ever made that. It was a little single seat Rotax powered, unlimited capability aerobatic aeroplane. Brilliant idea. Or Mark Albrecht.
It was about that big.
Yes. Rutan Grizzly. This is brilliant. We could go on forever.
But we haven't got forever, so we need
As
to
Paul
move.
Fraser Benison says, in other words, none of you have won.
We're all winning here, Paul.
That's our must try harder.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. We need to move on to events. Dave,
Yeah.
give us some events.
Right. Well, as we know, nothing much is happening before the 17th of May because that's when the next stage of restrictions are lifted. However, the Shuttleworth collection are having their season opener, the season premiere, at Old Warden on Sunday, the 2nd of May. That's a drive-in display. So you drive into your box and you know it's all safe and everything. It's the first one of the season. Sunday looks like being an okay day, judging by Simon's weather forecast. So it might be touch breezy for some of the older aircraft. So it says here over to Johnny in the club, but do we have Johnny in the club?
We've got a video from Johnny earlier, and I think let's see if he's got the price right.
Hi folks, Johnny here. Just a quick message to say thank you to all the new club members who have joined in the past week. It's great to have you on board. We've got lots of more new exciting things coming. This week I've published some more Joe Fournier safety analysis on the members section of the club area on the website, so head over there and check that out. We've also got more webinars planned, even some fly-ins and some physical virtual events in the future. So we'll get all of that information out to you as soon as it's ready, and we look forward to seeing some of you there. As always, if you aren't a member of the Flyer Club, now is the best time to join. It's just £7.50 per quarter, which is great value. If you take advantage of the landing fees, the discounts, it'll pay for itself in no time at all. So just head to flyer.co.uk and look for the club tab at the top of the page, and you can join from there. Thanks very much.
Wow.
I think Johnny has £7.50 a quarter written in big letters across the top of his monitor now.
Right, we've just got time for a little quick QSY. So we're going to start off. We're going to start off with some shootings in Florida, and then we're going to hand over to you, Ed. So Steve-O Runcanevo, if you watched the Flyer Live, you'd have seen us interview him on last Friday. That video will soon be released. Last Friday or Friday before? Yeah,
Friday before.
That video will soon be released, probably sometime next week, maybe the week after. So you can see that interview again if you missed it. Anyway, he was pre-flighting his TBM, and this is what he found in the roof. Wow, a bullet hole. And this is the bullet.
Really was a bullet in it.
It really was a bullet hole. So I dropped him an email and said, Stevie, you've been flying inverted down the beach or something. And he said, no, basically there's a whole... It's not uncommon in South Florida and presumably other parts of Florida for people to just shoot their guns into the air, and there are instances of people being hit by fallen bullets and it ending their days. And this was the end of. This was the result of a fallen bullet in a TBM. I mean,
wow,
unbelievable. Ed, changing the subject slightly.
Change the subject, and it could have gone in the news, and we debated this, but we've added him in at the end. Obviously, the news yesterday that Apollo Gemini astronaut and Apollo 8 and 11 astronaut Michael Collins passed away at the age of 90. Now, Mike, he was. I last saw him at AirVenture 2019. He was presenting at Theatre in the Woods during the show one evening, and he did a stop by a little press briefing, and he was just talking to a small group there, and he just told this brilliant story about the fact that having been near the moon, and it's so big. And it's just this remarkable thing. And he said, years gone by now, and he'll wander out into the garden. He would wander out into the garden, and at night look up, and he'd kind of look, and as you saw in the photo, it's like, huh! He said the moon still has the capacity to surprise him. So it was just a lovely, lovely little story. But the guy, and he's one of the most eloquent of all the astronauts. If you haven't read his book, Carrying the Fire, then you should, because it is brilliant.
Absolutely. Yeah. Very good. Well, thank you very much for that. It is 20:34, so I'm afraid we've overrun by 4 minutes. Thank you very much for sticking with us. We look forward to seeing you next week. Ed and Dave, thank you very much. Johnny, thank you very much remotely. Johnny's dad, thank you very much. And
yes.
We'll see you all next week. Have a great weekend. bank holiday weekends flying, or they Monday, maybe not.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Fly safely, everyone.
Cheers.
Cheers.